This is Sergio with fighterpath.com. I am really excited today. I'm going to try not to freak out too much. I am joined by martial arts and combat sports royalty, Mr. John Wayne Parr. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm very well, thank you.
So first things first, man, I'm over in Canada. So right now, everything here is kind of like in standstill. 1 minute we're open, 1 minute we're closed. You're on the other side of the world. What's life like there?
Since probably April last year, everything's been perfect. It's just business as usual. But only in the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, Sydney's just had a second wave. So we're getting like 100 cases a day now. It's like, so it's a bit of a pain in the bum. Where I live is okay for now. And then Singapore, with the One Championship, a lot of the fights are held in Singapore. And now Singapore is pretty much closed for this time. A lot of the gyms are closed also. So hopefully business back to normal soon-ish. And then I heard Singapore is going to start changing their rules, though. They're going to start treating COVID like an influenza. So they're going to have no more masks, no more quarantines, just let everyone run rampant and just see what happens. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, you have it a little bit different than most competitors because you do also own a gym. So
Yes.
not only, can you not train, but you're also not getting, people coming in. Like you said, it's been open for a while now, but overall, what's the impact been like on your students?
That's been amazing. I'm more busy than ever. We had a 2 month lockdown at the start of 2020, and then I think because everyone was locked inside, they have a different appreciation for keeping fit and staying healthy now. So it's been really good for business. And then I also started incorporating jiu-jitsu into the gym as well. So we have a jiu-jitsu program, Muay Thai program, boxing program. And I couldn't ask for better. Who said violent wasn't the answer? It's definitely the answer. It's awesome.
I love it. I want to talk a little bit about your recent fight. You fought Nikki Holskin, someone else who's very, very decorated. What was that experience like to be able to share the ring with him?
Oh, so cool. I've been following Nikki for multiple years now. I know he was a student at Raymond, and Raymond's my favorite fighter. I always had this feeling that our paths were going to cross one day. Watching him fight a lot of the same guys that we both fought, we had similar opponents in common. So the only thing that really sucked was I had hip surgery a year ago. And then before that, my last kickboxing fight was August 2019. So it'd been 20 months since my last kickboxing fight. And then just didn't feel on. When you fight regularly every few months, you feel like the eye's in and but yeah, because it was 20 months, it's a long time. And then I just felt I wasn't quite sharp enough. I just want to try and stay regular if possible. But also coming back from hip surgery too. I had a hip replacement July, 1st of July. So it's been a year now. So it's been 10 months from surgery to back in the cage again, competing against number one guy in the world, against Nikki. So hopefully I can be that guy that can influence people that are getting major surgeries, that just because you get something done doesn't mean you can't keep living your dream. So the dream's not going to chase itself. So you got to get after it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and one of the things is, like you said, Raymond is someone that you were close to, someone that you wanted to compete against. You never got the opportunity to compete against him, but you did get the chance to compete against a protege of his. Was that special in any way?
Oh, for sure. The whole lead up, this was my Raymond Dickers fight. I consider Raymond. Raymond's of course the king, but yeah, for the last probably 5 years, 10 years. Nicky's been right up there, and then he's been dominating and knocking out everybody. So for me, it was a massive honor to share the cage with Nicky. He's such a nice guy, and just a killer too. So win, lose, or draw, just to have his name on my resume is very important to myself, because when I retire, I want to look at my resume and make sure that I didn't miss anybody. So even if I lost, it sucks, but at the same time, I can't. No one can ever question my credibility in the sport.
Absolutely. And you did talk about that layoff. You talked about the hip surgery, but something else was not ideal, was not being able to have a trainer there, your own trainer. How did you adapt to that circumstance?
We were lucky to have there's a Thai gentleman that lived in the Sunshine Coast, which is about 2 hours from where I live. So I got him to come and live with me for 6 weeks. I helped prepare. It was okay, but it wasn't my usual standard. So a bit of a bummer. At the same time, I can't complain. I was fit. I was strong. I felt good. Getting kicked in the head's bad for the brain, I guess.
And obviously one of those things that was brand new was you got to compete for ONE FC, and also on TNT, which means new exposure to the North American market. As someone in Canada, it was huge for me to be able to watch it. What does that mean to you to finally be able to kind of, be able to showcase your skills in front of a new market?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm very lucky. I think out of all the promotions that I fought for, I fought Lumpini, Roger and Dern, King's Birthday, Contender, Super League, K1, and now the opportunity to fight for one championship is just it's a dream come true. I can't believe how lucky I've been in my career. I don't, without blowing my own horn, I don't think there's anyone that's done as accomplished as much as I have in the sport. I feel so honoured to still be 45 and still active and still competing against the best and still fighting for the number one promotions too. So it's really is a dream come true.
Yeah, you did say, like you said, you've competed, you've done so much already. That being said, what is left? I mean, you're coming up here, you're one away from 100 wins, you've won multiple world titles, you fought hundreds of times. What's left for you to achieve in the sport?
Just that being in camp, there's no better feeling as having a date. So let's say in 2 months' time you match with this person, and then for that next 2 months, every single morning you wake up with a purpose. You're hanging with the boys, you're doing your runs, you're doing your pads, you're doing your sparring, and every time you put your head on the pillow at night time, all you're concentrating is game plans and aspirations of where you want to go and everything else. And then once you I retired twice. And once you retire, you just lay in bed and there's no date, there's no excitement, there's no adrenaline pumping through the system. It's just like I'm gonna hold pads tomorrow for the boys, but that's not the same as walking out in front of a crowd and knowing there's a possibility that you could get seriously hurt or the highs of winning it by knockout. So yeah, I just want to keep going as long as I can. 2 more fights, get to pay my house off. So the idea of being able to chase the dream and to show my kids and my friends that look, I backed myself and I followed my dream and now I own a house from something that I'm passionate about. So why get a job that you seriously hate when you can do something that might not make you rich at first, or it might not make you rich ever, but if you can get to the stage where you can have enough skill to go on and teach other people that, and they can become a champion. So it all works in a crazy circle, but you're better off doing something that you love and maybe not getting as much money, but at the same time, at least you're happy to go there every day. It's not like working; it's like hanging out with your mates and just having fun.
Yeah, I mean that kind of leads into my next question. I mean, 30 years now that you've done this sport and you've retired, you've come back before. Was it like? Did you feel like in a way like you retired because you felt like you were reaching a certain point in your career where it was time, or was it loss of passion? And if so, like, has that passion ever dipped? Have you ever kind of lost interest at all?
So the first time I retired was 2012.
Yep.
Just burn out. I've been training nonstop, been in Thailand, I was traveling the world. Had a few injuries that were quite niggling and just over the whole process. And then after about 6 months after retirement, I discovered, oh man, I miss it so much. And then when I came back, I was more dangerous because now I'm doing it because I want to do it. I wasn't doing it because it was a job. I wanted to do it because this is amazing. I love being out on the road, running with the boys. I just love the whole process, not just the flight. The flight's fun. The flight's the best, of course. But just that whole 10 weeks of watching yourself gradually get fitter and fitter and the body transforming, getting more muscles. And by the end of boot camp, you're just looking strong and ripped. And you can do 20 rounds on the pads and you're not going to gas out. It's just such a unique experience to transition from that first day to that last day of camp. It's so rewarding.
We talked a little bit about your hip as well as some of the injuries, but what is the current status of that hip? Obviously, you were able to compete, but is it back to 100%?
Yeah, it's amazing. There's no pain whatsoever. The only thing that hurts is road runs. So I bought one of those, like a treadmill. It's called Air Runner. It has no engine. It's just on a drum. So you got to use your own legs to power the treadmill to spin like a hamster. And then hopefully that'll help me more cardio and more sweat and drop my weight a bit easier. I miss the road runs because where I live on the Gold Coast is on the beach. So we have the headlands and the guys surfing. So as you're running, you're watching the guys catch the waves at the same time. It's just brilliant. It's so cool. It's paradise.
I'm a former swimmer. Did you do any sort of water work when you were injured with the hip to kind of not put pressure on the hip?
Yes. So there's a rehab center just near where I live. It's a water treadmill. It was on my social media. So they walk in the treadmill, they close the glass door behind you, they lock it up. The water fills up to about your chest, and then I was doing 10 kilometers in 45 minutes on the treadmill. It was and then because you have that resistance, so driving your legs through the water at a high pace is yeah, it's a lot tougher than normal treadmill, but it was really cool. It's a good device.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about here is my family comes from a soccer background, and we're all passionate about the sport. Your family is very similar, not so much with soccer, but with combat sports in general. What's it like seeing your daughter Jasmine pursue your legacy and continue on and do exactly what you did?
That's amazing. It's so cool. She's been to Thailand 3 times. She's had 3 fights over there, and yeah, just to see her create her legacy through the sport, I couldn't be more proud because I know how much enjoyment it brings to travel overseas and to walk out and have people know your name in a different country. It's such a buzz. It's so cool. Um, yeah, and then so Jazzy's 18 with 27 fights. My young son, he's 13. He's had 7 fights and about 50 jiu-jitsu matches. He's right into the BJJ now. And then I also have a 7-year-old daughter who's had about probably 40 jiu-jitsu matches also. And she wants to fight end of this year while she's 7. So the first 2 kids fought when they're 8. And then my youngest goes, I want to be the coolest kid in the family, so I want to try and get this fight out before I turn 8. So if she does that, she'll be the new queen of the house.
That's funny. What I love though is they all kind of started really, really young. I can only imagine as a father watching them go out there and fight when they're 8 years old or 7-year old, regardless of whether it's jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or Muay Thai or whatever it happens to be. What's it like as a father experiencing that from that point of view?
Oh, no, it's cool. It's amazing. So what happens, because I own a gym, every single day the kids are at the gym just as much as they're at home. So for them to see people hitting the pads and the spar and to everything, it's just normal. And then the gym's also like the ultimate playground. You got the cage, you got the bags hanging off, you got the ring, all the equipment. They just have so much fun. So to see them slowly getting into it, and then to take that into from a bit of fun to get a little bit more serious, to asking, we don't push the kids, we ask for them to ask us if they want to compete. And then once they say that yes, and then we have to push them a little bit harder, which they enjoy. And then just to see the smiles on their face if they get the victory, and then to bring home a trophy, and it's very, very, very proud.
I spoke to Wonderboy Thompson, who is very credentialed as well in his own right, and he started at 14, the same age you did, and he talked about the nerves he experienced that first time going out there at 14. He fought a 26-year-old. I know it's hundreds of fights ago, but what was that first experience like, if you remember it?
Oh, it's terrifying. I was 14. I was in year 10 at school. So the fight was on a Thursday, which was weird. So I had my fight, and then the next day I had to go to high school, and I had a little bit of black eye and a little bit of a sore leg, and I had the limp, and everyone's asking, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" Oh, I had a kickboxing fight last night, and then all of a sudden I had this new stardom in the school. It was amazing. So this is the best feeling ever. People respect fighters straight away. As soon as you tell them you had a fight. You just watch it. Everyone's demeanor change. It's and then just the rush itself to get out there in front of the crowd. I lost on points, but as I was walking back to the change room, one of the gentlemen in the change room in the crowd, he's like, "Way to go, Wayne!" And then the whole crowd gave a standing ovation. And then I just felt like I was walking on a cloud all the way back to the change room. And then when I got home, my mom didn't go to the event. She was too scared to watch her son get hit. And then I was like, "How? What do you think?" From this day forward, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life. She goes, "Oh, you've had your one fight, and you've got to play. Surely you want to do something else now. Time to get a job or be an apprentice." It's like, no, this is the best. This is all I want to do. And then went to Thailand for 6 months, came back, and then she goes, "Oh, you've had your fun again. you've got to experience that. All right, you're 19 now. It's time to settle down. You need something to fall back onto. And as if the fighting doesn't work out as much as you want it to, it's like, oh, I'm all in. I don't have a plan B. This is all I want to do. It's either going to work or I'm going to make it work. There's no two ways about it. So I'm not sure if you know about my background too much, but when I moved to Thailand, I was living on a wooden floor for 4 years. Had no shower. Had to use a bucket to rinse on and soap up and rinse off. Training 6.5 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, and fighting killers. So and to hold your own against companies that's had 300 fights and renowned around Thailand, and all of a sudden you've either won or at least given a good fight. All of a sudden you're getting pats in the back by the ties, and it's like, this is the greatest feeling ever. So, and then when I come back to Australia, I'm always going, you want to get a normal job? It's like, no way. Not ever experiencing the adrenaline of all what I just come back from. So, and then now she just laughs. She goes, I'm so glad you did listen to me. I'm so glad you followed your dream. So, yeah, now it's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine what it's like looking back at that 19-year-old who moved there, spent 4 years there, and ultimately fell in love with the sport. Now, I mean, you're still competing, but you also have a different perspective. You're a coach. What's that transition like being both, obviously when you were 19, 17, it was go, 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 and you weren't worried about injuries. Obviously, as a coach and as a father and a mentor, I'm sure your mentality has changed. What's that mentality like as a coach?
Yes. So I lived in Thailand to end of '99, moved back to Australia, opened my own gym. So for the last 21 years, pretty much been a head trainer plus my own trainer. And then watching the guys come in that don't know how to throw a left, right, and all of a sudden they're competing or fighting for a belt, or my own kids, for instance. You just gotta take the friend hat or the family hat off and put the trainer hat on, and just try and do your best to make sure they're successful. Push them hard in the gym, making sure you're doing. So I've pretty much taken the same training module from Thailand and just brought it to Australia, and we just did the same stuff here that I was doing over there, and it seems to be working.
I know you talked about incorporating jiu-jitsu, and I know, you haven't done any MMA fights, and maybe that at this stage that's not something you'd be interested in. But is that something that you kind of wish you had discovered a little earlier in your career? Maybe MMA.
I like what I'm doing. I like being the Muay Thai guy. I love watching MMA, and I love big fan of like all the guys that are going there and putting everything on the line. But I like Muay Thai. I like striking. Yeah, if I was to retire from Muay Thai tomorrow, instead of going to MMA, I'd go boxing. I like being on my feet. And I get hurt a lot in jiu-jitsu. Every time I do a class, something happens. I hurt my finger, something happens. I get kneed in the face from jiu-jitsu class. So I do all the Muay Thai stuff. Not a drummer. I do jiu-jitsu, and it's like, injured again. That sucks. So I've come to the conclusion that I'm no more jiu-jitsu just for now, just because I'm making so much money with one championship. I'd be crazy to shoot myself in the foot doing something for free where I could be making good money and staying in one piece. So yeah, there's less stress getting punched in the face than there is getting your arm twisted off. Yeah.
I want to ask a couple more, and then I'll let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but last night there was an injury. Or Saturday night there was an injury. Conor McGregor hurt his foot. You've thrown thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of kicks in your career. As someone who probably more of an expert on this than anybody else, what was your take on that foot injury?
So I shared some footage on my social media on Instagram. You can see when Conor throws it's a high fly kick, and then you can see that the bone it doesn't come through the skin, but you can see it pushing on the skin as it cracks, and then as he goes a step down, you can see his leg give out on him as he goes, the weight there. From there he pushes with the teep, and the teep misses, and then he goes to jump in with a 1-2, and you see the leg buckle and then get immobilized where he's stuck on the ground, and the foot, his top of his half body slides, but his leg's stuck in the position where he pushed off from. And then as he goes a step back, that's when it snaps. So yeah, if you go to my social media, you can see the video there. But it's very unfortunate, and I hope for a speedy recovery, because no one wants to see anyone seriously hurt. If you win, you win. It's okay. If you knock someone out, you knock someone out. But to have someone seriously hurt and be on the sideline for for a year or so. We'll have to get operations. It's just very, very sucks.
And then I'll ask one more question here. When all is said and done, I mean, you've kind of just cemented your legacy as one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time. But when it all is said and done, what is it you want to be recognized for?
So there's a gentleman, Raymond. He's the king. So if I could be crowned the prince, that'd be amazing. If I could be the guy that could be in Raymond's shadow and just say that I followed Raymond's dreams. I followed his footsteps and got to accomplish so much. I won some, I lost some, but the memories I made is just unforgettable. Traveling the world, staying in hotels and sightseeing, and being recognized. I'm more recognized overseas than I'm in my own country, which is bizarre, which is good sometimes too, because I had the fortune enough to go and train George St. Pierre a few years ago, and I was with him for 2 weeks, and just to see he can't walk down the street. Every time he goes to a restaurant, he gets bombarded by people wanting photos. Just you see that sort of fame, and you see that he's a prisoner of his own success. So it's like, I'm so happy to be in Australia where you walk down the street, no one knows who you are. It's awesome. And then when you fight, you get a standing ovation. You get a couple of pictures at the fights, but then besides that, it's just like it's normal. So I feel sorry for the Conors and the George St. Pierres, and that'd be hell. But it's fun at the start. For the first 3 days, I'm going, oh, look at George, he's a superstar. And then after a few more days, you start realizing this doesn't turn off. In fact, it gets worse. Wherever it goes, it gets worse. I'll give you one more story. We're in New York, and the gym was, let's say 500 meters away. And George wants to call a taxi. I said, mate, I can see it. Why don't we just walk there? He goes, if we walk from here to the gym, that's 2 hours. As soon as someone comes out, we're screwed. And he goes, matter of fact, let's do it and try it. And then sure enough, he takes 5 steps and bang. As soon as someone sees him, cars are screeching to get out of their cars to get photos with him. People are coming out of their houses. People are screaming from the different floors. It's like, oh, this is just bizarre. It was like walking with Jesus. It's like, holy crap. This is insane. But George wasn't only the fighter, he was Canadian Fighter of the Year 3 years in a row. So to not only be just a famous fighter, but to be the face of Canada for 3 years, it's like, you're pretty bloody famous. So yeah, screw that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm from Canada, and George to me is one of the guys that got me into this sport, and he's the only real Canadian MMA icon, I guess. There's Arjun Buehler, who's doing great things as well, but for the most part, not as recognizable. He's a superstar, and as are you. And with that being said, I appreciate your time. I appreciate it greatly, and thank you very much. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to have a chat. Thank you.